Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about your class 9 political science chapter 2 constitutional design. The concepts we are going to cover in this chapter are democratic constitution in South Africa, definition of constitution, why do we need a constitution, making of the Indian constitution, the constituent assembly, guiding values of the Indian constitution, preamble of the Indian constitution and institutional design. First, we will start with the topic democratic constitution in South Africa. To understand this topic, first we can start with the term apartheid. It is a term given specifically to the racial discrimination that existed in the region of South Africa. This system was imposed on South Africa during the 17th century by the Europeans who went and settled in South Africa and who later became the local rulers over there. Racial discrimination is nothing but the discrimination based on the skin color of the people. This apartheid system divided the people on the basis of their skin color as whites, blacks and colored. So in South Africa, we could see a mixed culture of people. Among the total population of South Africa, 3/4 were the blacks and the remaining 1/4 consisted of the whites and the colored. The blacks were the South African people, the whites were the European people and the colored were the people who migrated from India. The discrimination was taking place mainly between the blacks and the whites. The whites dominated the blacks a lot and there were a lot of segregation that took place in South Africa because of this discrimination. There were separate bathing areas, hotels, toilets, transportation facilities and residential areas which were separate for the blacks and the whites. The blacks also did not have any voting rights. The whites only had the voting rights and they had the entire South African government under their control. They used the government in favor to them. Blacks were demanding equality and justice, whereas the whites wanted to continue enjoying the privileges they had by using the property of South Africa. The blacks, who were unable to bear this torture anymore, started to protest for their rights. The African National Congress acted as an important organization that led the struggle against this apartheid system. This struggle was led by Nelson Mandela. The African National Congress consisted of the Workers' Union and members of the Communist Party. Some sensitive whites. Sensitive whites are the people of European people who thought what the other European people are doing is very unfair and harsh. So some sensitive white people also joined the African National Congress to protest against the apartheid system. Nelson Mandela, along with 7 others who fought against apartheid system, was imprisoned for 28 years in Robben Islands, that is from the year 1964 to 1992. After so many struggles and protests that took place, there was a compromise between the blacks and the whites. The segregation and discrimination that took place between the blacks and the whites was slowly solving out in 1990s. In 1994, the first multiracial elections took place. That is, the election which was not based on any racial discrimination, the election in which the people of all races were allowed to participate is known as multiracial election. Nelson Mandela became the first president of South Africa after it became a republic country. South Africa gained independence and the national flag of Republic South Africa was unfurled at the midnight of 26th April 1994, depicting the newly born democracy in South Africa. The Constitution of South Africa was very unique because it talked about equality of all races, equality of all men and women living in the country, democratic values and social justice. After the emergence of democracy in South Africa, the black people forgave the white people and all of them sat together and discussed and framed up their own new constitution. The final constitution came into effect from the year 1997 after 2 years of deep discussions and debates that took place. The South African constitution is said to be one of the finest constitutions laid down in the world. Next, we will see about the definition of constitution. Constitution is a set of written rules that are accepted by the people of a country. Written rules. The rules, if once written, should be obeyed and accepted by all the people living in the nation. That is, the total population should accept and follow the rule. Any winning party or any ruling political party cannot change or modify these rules according to their advantage or wish. Making changes or rewriting the constitution is a highly complex procedure, and it cannot be done just like that, or it cannot be modified for any individual person's own benefit. Constitution is written down for the benefit of all the people of the nation, and whatever the rule is given in the constitution is applicable for all. Constitution is not a written set of rules for an entire nation, but there is some separate rules, guidelines in the constitution laid down for every sector, society or group of people living in a nation. Now we will move on to the next topic. Why do we need a constitution? To understand this topic better, let us all rethink about the incident that took place in South Africa. The whites were dominating the blacks and South Africa gained independence finally. But even after independence, the South Africans feared whether the white people would again continue to dominate them, and there were also a fear in the white people that whether the South African people would take revenge on them. So in order to avoid all these doubts and fears, they came up with an idea. They sat together, discussed and framed up their own constitution. So from this we can clearly understand why do we need a constitution. As it says, the first point, it generates a degree of trust and coordination. As there is a written set of rules which should be followed by everyone in a nation, it generates a kind of trust among people, and also it generates a kind of trust and coordination among the people and the government as well. Second, it specifies how the government will be constituted. So, how a government should be, how the values written in the constitution should be converted into institutional arrangement, how the government should formulate policies that would benefit the people of the nation. Everything will be specified in the constitution. Third, it lays down limits on the power of the government. The government, in order to prevent the government from misusing its power in favor of any particular political party or ruling party, the constitution limits down the power of the government, and it tells us what the rights of the citizens are. It clearly defines what are all our rights and how and when to use them effectively. Finally, it expresses people's views about how to create a good society. It is very important to know one thing here, that all countries that has constitutions are not necessarily democratic, but all democratic countries must have a constitution. That means all countries which has a written set of rules called constitution cannot be democratic. Democratic countries has various other features as well, but one important aspect in a democratic country is that it should have a constitution for sure. Next, let us discuss about the making of the Indian Constitution. How did we work around in making of the Indian Constitution is the most important concept of this chapter. Framing constitution for a diverse country like India was definitely not an easy task. After independence, there were a lot of religious differences in India between the Hindus and the Muslims. There were a lot of religious violences that took place in India. Constitution was very essential at this point of time. Everyone, be it a Hindu or be it a Muslim, had an equal importance in the framing of Indian Constitution. There were two important things to look around when we talk about the reason for making of Indian Constitution. The first one is the division of India and Pakistan, and the second one is the division of India into small princely states. Princely states means states ruled by a king. Those states were given the right to either join with India or join with Pakistan or remain independent. So all these consequences led to the need for constitution in India. The framing of constitution was done for removing any kind of foreign pressure on India thereafter, and also to rejuvenate, to refresh the idea of nationalism and patriotism in India. And it was done also to bring in a kind of socialist movement to transform the country for the betterment of the people living over there. Many of these ideas emerged out during our freedom struggle itself, and it was easily acceptable and adoptable by all. The whole idea started with Motilal Nehru and 8 others who drafted the constitution in the earlier days in 1928. In 1934, a resolution was passed at the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress which demanded for constitution. In 1937, the elections which took place was not fully democratic, so we decided to take ideas and details from the Government of India Act 1935. When we were laying down those ideas in the constitution, we had to look into the internal factors and the external factors as well. Internal factors are nothing but the ideas we took from the Government of Indian Act, whereas external factors are the ideas we took from the constitutions of various countries. In 1938, Jawaharlal Nehru demanded for a Constituent Assembly for framing the Constitution. The Constituent Assembly is about which you will be studying in your next topic. Leaders were also inspired by the various happenings that took place across the world, such as the French Revolution, parliamentary democracy in Britain, and the Bill of Rights in USA, along with the socialist revolution that took place in Russia. All these served as a foundation for framing our Indian Constitution. The next topic we are going to discuss about is the Constituent Assembly. So far we saw about the definition of constitution and how we made our constitution, what is the need for constitution, and so on. Now the question in all your minds will be, who will frame the constitution? Who framed our Indian constitution? The drafting of the constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives. The elections to select the representatives were held in July 1946, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was elected as the chairman of the drafting committee. The assembly met for the first time on December 1946. The Constituent Assembly had 299 members in it. After nearly 3 years of framework, we adopted a constitution finally on 26 November 1949, and it came into effect from 26 January 1950 when India became a republic state, which we now considered as our Indian Republic Day. Over the last 50 years, we have worked hard in writing our constitution by taking ideas and suggestions from the various regions throughout the world. One of the important aspects here is the thing that affects the large social group. As you people know, we have a large set of population in India, and writing down rules for everyone which should be implemented and followed by everyone is a very big deal. So, our Indian constitution is one of the longest written constitutions, which had nearly 2000 amendments. That is, it contained nearly 2000 changes in itself. Many changes were made so that it could be easily acceptable and adoptable by the entire population of India. The ideas of the best thinkers and philosophers were taken into account while framing our constitution. Our constitution itself is known as Mini India, as it reflects the ideas and views of many Indian people. Every law was discussed clause by clause, that is, section by section, and was finally arrived at a consensus. Consensus means acceptance of a group of people. So, it states that our constitution was drafted with the acceptance of a large number of people. Now we are going to discuss about the guiding values of the Indian Constitution. The values inculcated in our constitution was extracted from reading the views of great leaders and also from what was written in other countries' constitutions as well. We have to clearly understand one fact here, that Mahatma Gandhi was not a member of the Constituent Assembly that led to the drafting of the constitution in India, but he had a vision which was clearly stated in his journal Young India. In his journal, he stated about each and every poor should have equal status in the society, and there should be no high class and no low class among people living in the same country. This vision was even shared by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar while drafting the constitution for India, but there were some differences of opinions among them. For example, Gandhiji talked about reforming the caste system, whereas Ambedkar talked about the total abolition of caste system itself. We could say that Gandhiji's approach was a reformative one, whereas Ambedkar's approach was revolutionary in nature, which means the approach which brought in many changes in the society. Now, moving on to the preamble of our Indian Constitution. The term preamble means a short statement which contains the philosophy of constitution. It contains some basic values and it is similar to a poem. Simply, we can say that it is like an introduction to a constitution. The values in the preamble will be used into institutional arrangements. This introductory document called preamble consists of some important words. Let us now try to understand it word by word. The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. The words which are all in capital are very important. Let us now see the meaning for each and every word. Sovereign. People have supreme rights to make decisions in both internal and external aspects of the country. So the people have good rights in interfering in the decision making of the country. Socialist. Wealth is generated socially and should be shared equally by all. The wealth which is present in our country belongs to each and every one of the country, and it should be shared by everyone in an equal manner. Secular. Complete freedom to follow any religion. The people living in the country should have complete freedom to follow any religion as per their wish, and no restrictions or limitations should be imposed on that. Democratic. People enjoy equal political rights, elect their rulers, and hold them accountable. These are the important characteristics of the term democratic. People enjoy equal political rights, that is, all men and women who are above 18 years of age are allowed to participate in election and cast their oaths, elect their rulers, and also they can hold the representatives accountable if they are not doing their duty properly. The elected representatives is answerable to the people who elected them. Republic. Head of the state is elected and not hereditary. That is, the head of the state each and every time will be elected through a proper election process, and it is not hereditary. Justice. So people should not be discriminated on the basis of the caste they follow, the religion they belong to, and also on the basis of their gender. Liberty. No unreasonable restrictions on the citizens in what they think and how they wish to express. We have our right to express, right to talk, freedom of speech, and all such things, so that no unreasonable restriction should be imposed in the way we wish to express. Equality. All are equal before the law. From a common man in a small village till the President of India, everyone is equal before the law, and the law is same for the all. Everyone should obey and respect the law. Fraternity. All of us should behave as we are the members of the same family. As we say in our Indian pledge, all Indians are our brothers and sisters. We should treat our fellow citizens like our own family members. We should not hurt them or discriminate them in any way. Now we are going to discuss about the final topic of this lesson, that is institutional design. Constitution is mainly about embodying the values into institutional arrangements. The Constitution is not only a written set of rules which should be followed by all, but it is mainly about applying these values into institutional arrangements, that is, governmental setups. All the guidelines, values written in the Constitution should be converted into institutional arrangements. The Constitution should be in accordance to the people's changing views and also the changes in the society. So therefore it needs to be changed every now and then according to the changing views of the people and changes that is taking place in the society. The changes we make in the Constitution are called as constitutional amendments. Thank you.